Hi everyone, I'm Coach Greg. In this video, we're going to talk about sports nutrition for muscle growth. That is, what from the sports nutrition market can be suitable for our purposes and will have effectiveness. There is a sports nutrition organization that every year summarizes the results of the research that came out for the year. Different sports nutrition, that is, which supplements show effectiveness, which do not show. That is, something advances on the weight of evidence, something on the contrary rolls. Now, what's worth saying? For example, in 2010, an organization in a summary listed some effective and having low risk of side effects among sports nutrition supplements, and to these we can refer. Firstly, protein, that is, the well-known recommendation to consume more protein for an athlete than for an ordinary person, is indeed advisable, judging by large systematic reviews. And still taking protein in addition to the diet of an average person can bring its benefits for muscle hypertrophy against the background of training and everything else. You can get protein from meat and other foods, even from cereal. You can basically get protein. That's how you can get it from a can of protein. Those people who don't have enough protein in their diet will get certain benefits from muscle hypertrophy by consuming protein. Here, I think everything is clear. The next supplement is EOA, or complex amino acids. There are 8 of them. The point is that if you evaluate the anabolic stimulus from different sources of protein, for example, from any vegetable source of protein, that is the most meager amino acid composition, emphasize the most meager. And if you take a portion of meat, or for example protein, or some dairy products, cottage cheese, etc., then we will come to the conclusion that when using protein with a full amino acid profile, with a high content of essential amino acids, protein synthesis increases more significantly than when using a more meager amino acid profile in the composition of protein. So we can infer from this that essentially muscle growth will be tied to the consumption of essential amino acids as part of protein. Attempts to identify individual amino acids that can most strongly stimulate muscle protein synthesis have not been successful because, in principle, even if you pay attention to the fact that protein synthesis is tied to the amount of leucine, leucine itself, without the consumption of other amino acids, will not be able to significantly increase muscle protein synthesis. The same can be said about BCA. They will not be able to stimulate muscle protein synthesis as much as a regular protein containing 8 non-substitutable amino acids. Next, we'll talk about an equally effective sports supplement like creatine. I want to point out right away that creatine may not work for everyone, because there are a number of people on whom it will not work under any circumstances because the creatine levels in the muscles are already high and are at maximum values. I mean, normally our muscles hold a certain amount of creatine. That is, consumption of 50 grams of creatine or 100 grams of creatine will work exactly the same as 5 grams of creatine on a particular person. Therefore, exceeding some optimal dosages, it does not make sense just this money in the garbage. So, the first thing figured out, your muscles can hold a certain amount of creatine. By the way, creatine in the human body is contained 95% in the muscles, and 5% of creatine is contained in other tissues of the human body. So where do we start? First of all, creatine can only help a person who is low in creatine because he doesn't eat enough meat or seafood, fish, or anything else that has a high creatine content. So he's basically not eating protein. Let's say he has a nutritional problem, or the protein sources he's using contain minimal amounts of creatine, and so he's in a constant deficit. The creatine allowance is usually calculated using the formula 0.05 grams of creatine per kilogram of body weight. That is, roughly speaking, a person weighing 100 kilograms should consume 5 grams of creatine per day or 2 grams more. And this is the maximum that a person can absorb in principle. Anything above that will go to the trash. That is, if a person consumes about 5 grams of creatine every day for the last 30 days, then he cannot achieve more in the value of creatine reserve. Yes, the more a person weighs, the more creatine they can absorb because they have more muscle. There are trained athletes who are able to absorb 5, 10 grams of creatine. All those who go over 100 kilograms plus, again take into account the intensity of loads, the amount of energy expenditure, and so on. That is, the more often a person trains, the faster, as it were, he empties his creatine reserves. Because creatine is the same energy as glycogen, which helps us to lift heavy weights. So with creatine, we can progress in the case of muscle creatine deficiency, we can progress in strength and muscle mass growth. And as a rule, these indicators can be striking and very significant, for example, in vegetarians who have a lack of creatine intake from regular food. That is, as a rule, those people who have a small amount of creatine in their diet. Now let's look at the most effective way to use creatine. First of all, there is creatine loading. So you can load up on creatine, which is the most effective way. Again, I'll note, for 5-7 days, an increased dosage of 0.2 grams of creatine per kilogram of body weight is consumed. That is, a person weighing 100 kilograms should consume 20 grams of creatine per day divided into 4 meals per day. That is, 5 grams of creatine for 4 meals. Why with food? Because it's noted that creatine is better retained by the muscles if it's consumed with food, it's better absorbed. With what food specifically was compared to creatine intake, per serving of 100 grams of carbohydrates and per serving of 50 grams of carbohydrates and 50 grams of protein. It was noted that creatine absorption is higher when consumed together with protein and carbohydrates than when consumed only with carbohydrates. In addition, it has been noted that creatine consumption with carbohydrates increases not only creatine absorption and stores, but also glycogen replenishment. So here, I think it makes sense that creatine should be consumed together with food, together with protein, and together with carbohydrates. Then, the absorption of creatine will be most effective. Higher dosage for 5-7 days, which is calculated on the form of 0.2 grams multiplied per kilogram of body weight. And then consumption decreases because the maximum concentration of creatine in muscles is reached during these 5-7 days. And then we switch to the maintenance dose, which is 0.05 grams per kilogram of body weight. That is, in this case, a person with a weight of 100 kilograms needs to consume only 5 grams of creatine per day. Here, you need to divide it into 2 doses or consume it in one go, say, in the morning, along with some food. And thus, the maintenance dosage of creatine is provided. There is also a second option of creatine consumption. You can immediately start with the maintenance dosage of creatine. That is, do not make a load for 5-7 days. Consume immediately the minimum dosage of creatine, which will ensure the maintenance of the required amount of creatine in the body, that is 0.05 grams per kilogram of body weight. And in this case, you will still reach the maximum concentration, but you can reach it later, after about a month. That is, it will be maximized in any case. Just in the first case, you reach the maximum concentration of creatine in the muscles for a week and then maintain it. In the second case, you reach it gradually, thereby replenishing the norm of creatine reserves. As a result, after a month, you will still have the same amount. So this is the kind of absolutely accurate data that I can provide you with here. So now the fun part begins, which is basically, these are the 3 most effective proven supplements at this point in time. This is a protein that has its effectiveness due to its essential amino acid content. These are EIA essential amino acids, and this is creatine. 3 supplements that are beneficial for muscle mass growth. As far as other supplements that may be effective, that list in 2010, for example, included all sorts of calorie-boosting supplements, so there are explicitly gainers or something similar. For example, the extra calories that you can get not from regular food, but from sports nutrition. So for example, supplementing with gainers can really have its effectiveness because energy surplus for muscle mass growth is very important. And so, let's say that these supplements, by increasing calories, can be effective. Again, it is noted that the amount of muscle and fat you add will be individualized. So, not everything can be beneficial for your progress, that is, to use such supplements for 500 to 1,000 additional calories because you can gain a lot of fat. Because what is a gainer? It is the same protein, plus sugar. And this supplement is naturally not necessary to buy because the composition is very simple. That is, it is an ordinary protein, which in fact can be replaced by meat and sugar. It can also be replaced by any other fast carbohydrates. This is where the video ends. To help build a proper workout and nutrition plan, I can help in my online introduction in my Telegram. Link in the description. See you in the next video.